Welcome back to Five Ever Timepieces, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of luxury watches, discuss some of the stories behind these iconic pieces, as well as bring you guys relevant and up-to-date news from within the luxury watch world. As always, my name is Chris, and today we're going to take a deep dive into one of the most respected and unique luxury retailers in the United States. I'm talking about the Tiny Jewel Box located in Washington, D.C. For those of you who don't know, the Tiny Jewel Box isn't just another jewelry store. This is a family-run institution with nearly a century of history. They're also known for their impeccable service, rare timepieces, as well as an exclusive clientele that includes U.S. presidents, dignitaries, and overall some serious collectors. If you're someone that's into fine watches and jewelry, this is definitely a place that you need to know about. So sit back, relax, and let's explore what makes the Tiny Jewel Box a giant in the world of luxury. Beginning with the origins, the Tiny Jewel Box was founded in 1930 during the Great Depression era. This is arguably one of the worst times to start a business, especially in luxury retail. But their vision was different. They didn't aim just to be another jewelry store. They wanted to create a boutique experience that focused on unique, one-of-a-kind pieces. And from the very beginning, they built a reputation for curating exceptional vintage jewelry. Now, over the years, the business has stayed within the family, but with subsequent generations expanding its offerings to include rare timepieces and high-end brands. Now, here's a fun fact. The store, the Tiny Jewel Box, well, it got its name because in the early days, it was literally tiny. Just a small space showcasing exquisite pieces that you wouldn't find anywhere else. But don't let that name fool you today. The Tiny Jewel Box, today, they occupy a multi-story building and they're an authorized dealer for some of the most exclusive watch brands on the market. Now, speaking of their watch selection is a collector's paradise. When it comes to high-end timepieces, the Tiny Jewel Box isn't just another authorized dealer. They're a destination. They carry brands like Rolex, Patek Philippe, Cartier, and Jaeger-LeCoultre. And they've built relationships with some of the biggest names in horology. So like I've said before, if you're a serious collector, this is the place you kind of don't just walk in and buy a watch. You build a relationship. They cater to high-profile clients, meaning if you're looking for something rare, exclusive, or even a limited production piece, this is where you want to be. But one thing that sets them apart is going to definitely be their ability to source some of these vintage and pre-owned watches, especially for those looking for potential investment pieces. It's because you won't just find modern Rolexes at the Tiny Jewel Box. You might stumble upon a vintage Submariner or even a rare Patek complication that's nearly impossible to find somewhere else. But their experience is honestly what makes the Tiny Jewel Box special. You know, the experience. This isn't a place where you're rushed in and out. It's about building and sustaining relationships. It's about knowledge, passion, and history. one of the things that stands out about the tiny jewel box is definitely going to be their team. Their experts aren't just salespeople. They're deeply knowledgeable in both jewelry and watches. They also take the time to educate clients, whether you're a first-time buyer or even a seasoned collector. And then there's the custom jewelry and restoration services that are offered by the Tiny Jewel Box. If you have a vintage watch or an heirloom piece that needs restoration, the Tiny Jewel Box, they have master jewelers and watchmakers on site who can bring it back to life. That right there, that alone, that's a level of service that you won't find at just any retailer. The Tiny Jewel Box, they have notable clients and a substantial impact on Washington, D.C. Being located in Washington, D.C., the Tiny Jewel Box has had some pretty notable clients over the years, like aforementioned, U.S. presidents, dignitaries, but also foreign diplomats and celebrities have also all shopped there. In fact, many presidential families, they have turned to the Tiny Jewel Box for gifts, custom jewelry, and even official timepieces. It's one of those places that has a deep connection to the city's history and the city's high society. That's simply just part of what makes it special. It's not just about luxury. It's about legacy. It's about passion. When you buy a watch or a piece of jewelry from the Tiny Jewel Box, it's almost like you're buying into a tradition that has catered to some of the most powerful and influential people in this country. So, is the Tiny Jewel Box worth a visit? Absolutely. Whether you're looking to buy, browse, or just experience a piece of history, this is a must-see for any watch enthusiast or watch lover. If you're someone that's in the market for a Rolex or Patek, and you want to work with a retailer that values relationships over transactions, this is the place to go. But even if you're not buying, just simply stepping into the store is an experience. It's a reminder that true luxury, it isn't just about price. It's about history, knowledge, craftsmanship, passion, and the ability to build personal collections along the way. Well, that's going to be it for today's episode of 5 Ever Timepieces. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the Tiny Jewel Box located in Washington, D.C., make sure that you guys subscribe and leave a review. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And if you're listening in on any of the major podcast platforms such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, and many more, also please leave a review. And if you're someone that's ever been to the Tiny Jewel Box or you own a timepiece from there, I'd love to hear about your experience. You can reach out to me on social media. My handle on Instagram is 5 Ever Timepieces, or leave a comment wherever you're listening. Until next time, keep collecting, keep learning, and remember, time itself is the most valuable thing you can own. See you guys in the next episode.